Hello and welcome to Inside Modular, the podcast of commercial modular construction, brought to you by the Modular Building Institute. Welcome to our very first episode of Inside Modular. My name is John McMullen. I am the marketing director here at MBI. Joining me today is Tom Hardiman, the executive director of MBI, and we've got a bunch of exciting things to talk about. Tom, how are you today?
I'm doing great, John. How are you?
I am very well. Excited to get this podcast going.
Me too.
So let's dive right in. I was wondering, is there anything new and exciting going on in MBI that maybe you wanted to catch our listeners up on really quick?
Absolutely. Glad you asked. There's always something new and exciting going on at MBI, but we've been particularly busy these last few months. During the COVID crisis, a lot of companies actually slowed down, but a lot of our members got busier. We've been very active in trying to coordinate an industry response to the COVID crisis. You'll read about it in our upcoming edition of Modular Advantage, how the industry came together to address this issue. But beyond that, gosh, there's so many things going on. We've conducted several online webinars as a way to continue professional development opportunities for our members. We're currently working on 4 industry standards with other partners. So we've had a full plate over the past few months for sure.
We definitely have. One of the big things I know we're working on is our new annual reports.
Correct. We have 3 reports this year. We have a permanent modular construction report, a relocatable building report, and then a special report for our Canadian members. And those reports are invaluable to our industry. They've got a ton of data in them that's useful for a lot of reasons. But real quick, I just wanted to touch on the cover images on those reports. A lot of people ask us, how do you pick the covers for some of your publications? In the case of the annual reports, we selected the Best of Show Permanent Project and the Best of Show Relocatable Building Project from our Industry Awards of Distinction contest. That was held in March. Those companies won the Best of Show. The attendees at our World of Modular conference voted on those projects. So we felt that was a good nod to those companies for winning that, to put them on the cover of the industry annual reports.
I was actually taking some notes about those entries because a couple of them have some really interesting stories behind them. For the Permanent Modular Construction Report, the Best in Show was a structure built by Vesta Modular. They were working with Southeast Modular and Affinity Building Systems. It's a housing complex on a Caribbean island where nothing had ever been built before. So I think it's tens of thousands of square feet of new housing for the world's largest privately owned cruise line. So they'll go to this Caribbean island, and there'll be beautiful buildings now for people to stay in. For the relocatable cover, the image was from Wilmot Modular Structures. They were working with Ramtech. It's a really nice relocatable office building. And for the Canadian report, it was a structure built by Horizon North. It was a community and office space way up in the subarctic in Canada, built specially for that environment, but beautiful building. So I'm really looking forward to those being published. Anyway.
Yeah, my only criticism on the permanent project is that we weren't invited to the ribbon cutting ceremony.
That is true. Maybe next year. So back to the annual reports themselves. What you mentioned that they're really important for our industry. How are they used? What do they do for members of the industry?
Well, let me back up a step and explain how we gather that information that's included in them. Each year when our members renew their membership, we ask them for information like their revenues. If they're manufacturers, we ask about total square footage produced, what markets they're in, things like that. And a lot of our members provide that data voluntarily. We've talked about our Awards of Distinction contest. Each year we get about 100 to 125 buildings entered into our contest. And from that information, we can pull out data on different markets. How long does it take to complete a multifamily project, for example? Average size. Various bits of information on different markets. So we glean information from that contest. And then lastly, I will send direct emails to several of our company leadership, just asking them for the information we need. So we get all of that information in. For the permanent report, I think we had financial information and data from over 50 companies. Over 50 members sent us that information, and I think it was about 30 or so for the fleet owners. But on the fleet owner side, on the relocatable building report, we had about over 90% of the industry captured in that report. So we certainly think it's the most robust information out there on modular construction. It's important for a couple of reasons. It's a great overview of the industry for someone new to modular to look at, or someone who's considering building with modular construction. They could pick up that report, kind of know everything about it at a surface level at least. For our members, it sets some benchmarks in there that they can say, well, the industry average is X, our company exceeds it, or our company's below it. So it gives them a target that they can measure against. And then perhaps most importantly, it's a tool to help attract capital to our industry. So someone who's thinking about investing in modular or lending to a company has a credible third-party report on the industry that they can look to and say, okay, this looks like an appealing industry we want to invest in. So it's a great resource for bringing capital to the industry.
Excellent, excellent. And I think we were going to highlight some notable facts from these reports. We are putting in the next issue of Modular Advantage, sort of a preview of these reports. You'll be able to see the covers of all three reports in the next issue. And we've broken out some charts and a good, call it an executive summary of these reports. So Tom, if you wanted to let our listeners in on what they can expect from these reports.
Sure, and the detailed reports, of course, those are available for our members at no cost. We make them available to non-members for a fee, but based on what we're seeing in the market, we think we have the best data available on the modular construction industry at the best price available. And a couple quick highlights. The permanent modular construction industry drove about $9 billion worth of activity in North America in 2019, up slightly from 2018. Not as much as I had hoped it would go up, but it did increase slightly. Key markets, multifamily, education, general office space, hotels were still a strong market in 19. So our goal was to get to 5% of all new construction starts, and over a 5-year period, we started at 2.37% 5 years ago, and we finished this last year right around just under 4%, which may not sound hugely significant, but it's basically a doubling of the size of our industry over a 5-year period. We went from a $4.5 billion industry to a $9 billion industry in 5 years.
Did any of the findings of the report surprise you? I know you spent a long time putting these together, getting a lot of information together. Did you find anything unexpected, anything surprising, anything?
I don't think nothing surprising. I'll say that on the relocatable side of the industry, consolidation and mergers continue to have an impact. A larger percentage of the fleet, the relocatable buildings, are held in the hands of a smaller number of companies. So there's fewer companies operating in that space than there was 5 years ago. That said, that industry still looks very healthy, very robust. We have the best data available for relocatable buildings than we've ever had. This report is by far the best one we've ever had. On the permanent side, again, I was thinking there might be a higher increase in 2019. There was a slight increase, but relatively flat. So I was expecting a slightly larger increase, and when the numbers shook out the way they did, it was still an increase, but I wouldn't say surprising, but I would have liked to have seen more, but it is what it is.
And speaking of the magazine, we'll have this summary in the next issue of all three reports, but there's also a lot of content in the magazine that's also exciting. That we have an article that you had something to do with. It was your work with the CSA group to put together a set of standards research.
Correct. And I touched on it earlier that MBI is currently involved in developing 4 industry standards. One of those is with the Canada Standards Agency, and that's the CSA group you referenced. There is a feature article in the upcoming edition of Modular Advantage detailing that work. Basically, it's an effort to try to standardize some of the language and processes involved in modular construction across Canada, particularly for multi-story modular buildings. So yeah, there's a great article in there about some of the leaders that have helped develop this standard. It's still in process, so it's still to be continued, if you will. But it's a good overview of that effort in the upcoming edition.
And then the big piece for the next issue is our COVID-19 industry response article. I think it's 2/3 of the magazine.
Yeah, and I'd say, first of all, how proud I am of our industry for the way they stepped up, the way they shared information, the way they worked together and collaborated. This article is, I think it's fantastic. It's one of the best stories we've written and published because it includes relocatable and permanent U.S. and Canadian companies, European companies, how they replied to the crisis. And MBI's role in all this was really to serve as this information clearinghouse or hub, if you will, and we had a lot of that information, a lot of company information on our modular.org, made that available to anyone who wanted to see it. Sample plans, healthcare facilities, temporary and permanent again. So what evolved, this article is basically a summary of our last 2 or 3 months worth of work, reaching out to government agencies, letting them know what our industry capabilities are. And again, this piece is great because I think 15 or 20 different companies are mentioned in here and their efforts they've had. So definitely worth the read.
I think it was 20. I went through
20,
and I counted
20
it. It was
different
20
companies.
That was pretty amazing. Is there anything else, Tom, that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't announce that we are in the process of rolling out a new website here at MBI, and we're really excited about that. We think it's going to be a great resource for our members to help them better engage with one another, and maybe you could touch a little bit about the communities section we're going to have on the website.
Sure. There's going to be a lot of new features to the website, communities among them. What our website will allow members to do is to join communities or interest-based groups within the membership. So if you are interested in our awards of distinction, for example, you could join a community. You would get news about entries, when to enter, how to enter. If you were interested in World of Modular, our big annual convention, you would get information and be able to ask questions all about that particular show. So we'll have lots of different communities, lots of different opportunities for members to engage with the website, to get the information that they're looking for, to learn from each other, to ask questions. We're really excited about where this is leading us, and really looking forward to its rollout
and
very
we're
soon.
Expecting that in the next couple of weeks, within a month for sure.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, we're excited about
It
that.
is.
We think it'll be, if you're an architect and you're looking for other modular architects, there'll be a place there to connect with, like-minded folks, owners, developers, engineers, GCs. So we're excited about the rollout of this one.
We are, and the rollout won't stop. We're expecting lots of features to roll out in the months to come. So it should, when it's all said and done, this really should be a fantastic industry resource.
Yeah, and really we think this is going to be the hub for all things modular construction on a global scale. So we want, we have an increasing number of members in Europe and South America, and we want to accurately represent, their works and their efforts and have a place for them on this site. So excited about it.
It will do all of those things. Okay, well, thank you, Tom. This has been, like I mentioned at the top, our very first episode of Inside Modular. Thank you very much, and we look forward to recording another episode.
Stay tuned.